Right, we are alive. Can you hear me, Arthur? I hope you can hear me.
Yes, I can.
All right. So, welcome everyone to another live session here at the 𝗖𝗛𝗔𝗚𝗡𝗥𝗘𝗔𝗖𝗛 Globals. Today we're excited to be joined by Arthur, the CIO of OneAsset, to discuss and dive into the broader future of tokenized real estate, the challenges around regulation and transparency, and how OneAsset is positioning itself within the rapid evolving sector, and so much more. So, Arthur, it's great having you with us today.
Thank you for having me.
This afternoon, and we're looking forward to hearing more about the vision behind OneAsset and what the team has been building.
Sure.
Right. So for people hearing about OneAsset for the first time, what exactly is the platform building, and what problem within the real estate tokenization made your team decided that this is like worth focusing on?
Sure. So OneAsset is a tokenization platform based in Dubai, UAE, starting acquiring assets in the UAE, but eventually going global for global investors. And as I told you before, we are specialized in commercial real estate. We don't do residential, so apartment, villas, houses are not our thing. We are mostly focusing on warehouses, offices, clinics, malls, retail shops, things like that. So, let's say wind farm, solar farm, Bitcoin mining farms, a lot of sub asset categories. And at OneAsset, we want to give everyone access to institutional grade commercial real estate. So no doubt that real estate is one of the best asset class in the world, but the biggest issue of this asset class is the high tickets. So it excludes so many people. And the second problem is your geography. Of course, it's much tougher to buy real estate in the UAE if you're not in the UAE. And what Web3 tokenization allows us is to give a fraction of these assets and give access to these very good investments to everyone, with whatever or almost whatever the amount they have to invest, and wherever they are geographically. What I can say is we're building a full stack platform. We are just not a token launcher or something like that. We have real ownership. We build the platform, but we are in charge of the management of the units. We are in charge of the yield and the legal enforceability of all this stack that compose the platform.
That's about that. That's amazing. So, real estate tokenization has been around as an idea for years now, and so what gave your team the confidence that this market is finally ready for more serious infrastructure?
Look, the first thing that's I think the most important, or the second most important, is the regulatory frameworks. GCC is mature enough today to build compliant tokenization platform that protect investors and that make sure that you're buying something that's backed by real assets and that will produce really good ROI. So that's number one. Then it's institutional appetite. Of course, we can't run markets only with retail. We need the big money to come in. We need the high net worth individual. We need the institutions. We need the hedge funds. We need the family offices. We need the whole ecosystem to invest in RWA. And if you have been to any Web3 conferences in the past few months, everything is about RWA. Everything is about tokenization. Everything is about how to get access to good assets on chain. So you have like an alignment of planets where the regulation is coming, the guys with the big money are coming, And then, of course, the tech infrastructure has evolved so much that now we're ready for on-chain ownership, and we are ready to make platforms that are bulletproofed, that will not have any hacks, and hopefully, and that we can trust for investing big amounts like you would invest in AWA.
All right, that's amazing. That's amazing. So, from your perspective, what's been like the biggest thing stopping tokenized real estate from scaling properly so far?
Look, first thing is, obviously, it comes back to my previous answer, the legal layer. I mean, the regulation has been tough to crack.
Yeah.
It's the blockchain is not the issue. The UI is not the issue. The UX is not the issue. It's really a regulation matter. Then we have to ask ourselves a question that most projects can't answer, or at least could not answer before, as when a token holder buy tokens, what he actually own and how do we enforce his ownership. Before the regulation and the regulatory framework that's in place now, this question was impossible to answer. Without answering that question, it was impossible to invest, actually. Investing in AWA back in 2020, I think was pure craziness. I mean, when you don't know if the token is actually backed by real underlying assets, how can you just by trust, because someone at the project told you, trust me, bro, it's gonna be okay, make it happen. And then there is one issue, which is AWA, and especially real estate AWA, is very jurisdiction specific. Now we're starting to have regulation that are understandable wherever you go, and that you can enforce whatever you want. But if you have to go through the work of regulation in each and every country that you want to develop, it's way too big work to be able to scale as a platform.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, moving on to my next question. Since regulation around tokenized assets vary across different countries, how is OneAsset preparing for global expansion without running into compliance issues and all that?
Look, the framework given by VARA is pretty clear and easy. No doubt that we'll follow that framework, and the framework that VARA has designed helps us to just ignore the local specificities, accept transfer fees for land department offices, and make just the same kind of SPVs anywhere in the world, and tokenize the SPVs. So, I mean, overcoming this geographical issue is not anymore a problem.
All right. So I just wanted to ask, have you guys thought of like doing like a merchandise for OneAsset, or you guys already done
it? We've done so much. We are. If you see us at any event, we'll be happy to give so much.
All right. Okay. So moving on to, I'd like to know how you guys balance the open nature of blockchain with the legal realities that comes with investor verification and transfer restrictions, and also the regulated market as well.
So look, I mean, we just go by the book. We are pretty much very decentralized platform, but we KYC our users. So whoever come from sanctioned country cannot trade with us, cannot invest. There is not really like big issue on that thing. I don't know, maybe you want to ask something more specific in the question?
No, you're good.
Thank you.
All right, so moving on to the next one. Obviously, more project focus on heavily on the tokenization process itself, but OneAsset seems only focused on what's happening, like what happens after the asset goes on chain, which is like the long-term infrastructure side. Like, also, why is like the long-term infrastructure side like so important for you guys?
Yeah, basically, if you just do issuance of token without an infrastructure, you just fundraising made tougher, made harder for the investors. Fundraising with extra steps. And actually, what's difficult is not token issuance. What's difficult and what the hard part is, it comes after token issuance, is yield distribution, reporting, transfer of control, governance, name it. But there is a bunch of things that are the hard part of our industry, and obviously it comes either before, either after, because, and we haven't discussed about it yet, but let me jump in. The most important thing is not the regulation, is not the platform, is not, it's the assets. And the assets and the underlying assets and having good products that to invest in is the most important, and it's the thing that everyone should look first and foremost. I mean, that's the most important thing you can look, and that's the most of your time should be involved in dioring the assets. If it's a bad asset off chain, it's not going to become better on chain. If the asset is not worth the investments, you can tokenize it, you can do whatever you want. It's still a bad investment. And that's the most important thing, I think, with us, as the asset selection. It's all start with asset selection plus good regulation.
Right. You guys are quite straightforward with what you want, to be honest. Most people just throw in a little this and that, in there, and you guys are just straight. You don't really have much to explain about it, which is amazing, to be honest. And regarding ownership and legal rights, can you like explain how the ownership right actually works on OneAsset? For like example, what real legal protection does like a holder have, beyond simply owning a token on chain or supporting the project and all that?
Sure. So basically, when you buy a token, you have you expose yourself to two things. First thing, you get the yield. The yield is very easy. It's coming from the rent. So we rent the units. The tenant pays the rent. You get a fraction, the proportion of your investment of that rent. So that's what we call the yield, and the yield is very straightforward. We tend to say if you don't know where the yield is coming from, it's probably a scam. And think about this when you do investments, the yield must be clear. And then the second thing is when you buy the token, you can sell it in a secondary marketplace. So if you think the asset will go up in price and you buy it, then you'll be able to sell it at a premium later on and make a profit from the price you buy it in comparison to the price you're selling it. And that premium that you can pocket is what we call a property appreciation. And that could be a lot of money. Actually, in our market, especially in the UAE, where we're starting in, property appreciation can go so fast and can go very high.
Yeah, that's understandable. And also, behind the scene challenges, what would you say like is the hardest challenge OneAsset has faced so far, behind the scenes that most people in the community may not know about?
You know what, the most difficult part in what we're doing is just trying to explain investors that we are not a gambling platform, that we are not crooks, that we are not scammers. I mean, this industry has been filled with people with bad intentions for years, and a lot of projects claimed to be RWA where it was just gambling or bullshit companies. So that's, when you advertise yourself as a RWA project, you get a lot of skepticism in the first places. But then when you explain what you're doing and how you do it, for sure, like everybody understand, and it gets much, much easier.
Yeah, you're right. There's a lot of scam projects out there in the space. A lot of them pretending to be genuine, to be honest, and you can't really even tell which is which again. You just have to, I don't know, just get in there, just try to support, and then do a lot of research about it. And it's really one of the reasons why a few platforms, a few marketing platforms, we like us, to be honest, we don't want to like just throw in different project to the community and just expect everything to go well and all that. We do our research, try to know which community, which project is which project, and projects that are here for the long haul. And a lot of projects out there in the space they just aren't, to be honest. And most of them are just probably waiting for like when people buy the tokens, they just ruffle it and all that. So it's just a lot of scams, and I just can't. I just can't, to be honest. But that's about that. I just like the fact that you brought that up, and we just clarified that because it was one of the questions I wanted to ask about transparency and security and all that. So moving on to my next question. So regarding the regulation and the market risk management. So in the event of market downturn or real estate value crash, how does OneAsset protect investors and mainstream stabilities within the ecosystem?
Look, first thing is,
yeah,
we're a platform and regulated, and we take full accountability of issues when issues comes. That's the most important. The code is low area is over. It's just code bro doesn't work anymore. If something bad happens, we are responsible. And I mean, we are legally responsible for it. And that's the beauty of investing through regulated entities. So that's the first thing. The second thing is VARA forced us to prepare that scenario. If something goes wrong, what happened? Like Chapter 11, what's the process for either selling the assets, finding a new owner, having the product to continue living live on chain, and this is, of course, we're in the process, so I can't disclose much, but these are things that we are structuring with VARA, and that will be super important. Another thing is insurance. We're actually working with a lot of insurance providers, brokers, and companies to help us design the best insurance to protect our users. So what happens if, for any reason, the SPV that owns the assets doesn't own it anymore? And that's a big challenge. We are creating this insurance, with the insurance themselves. This kind of policies doesn't exist yet, so we have to create them, we have to spec them, and we have to make them understandable for the insurance companies, in order for them to quote a reasonable price for this kind of thing.
All right, that's understandable. That's understandable. So I just wanted to ask about your wait list. We got. I just want to ask how, like, what's the main reason why people are joining the wait listing right now, and what kind of like users are you seeing most and all that?
Look, we have two kind of users. We have retail and institutional investors. For retail, it's the most important is understand what we're doing. And the best way to understand is just go on the platform, see what we're building, how we're building it, what kind of assets, things like that. And when you go on the platform and you understand this, everything is more clear immediately, suddenly. And so when you go on the platform, then the real research starts. So you can you can understand what we're doing, and the day we will go fully live, you will be so much ahead of everyone else that hasn't tried the platform yet, because you'll already have asked us all the questions you had in mind, and you already know how to do it. So I think, and I've emphasized enough on this. I tend to remind to everyone, DR in this industry is the most important thing. Do your own fucking research. It's I can't emphasize enough. Like, people are investing just because KOL said was a good idea, or because they're friend, because they're whoever. Guys, it's not working like this. You have to become almost an expert in that field, and understand the risks. When you understand the risk, and you're fully aligned with the risk you're taking, you can invest. But before understanding the product, the industry, the context, everything, and I think and understanding the risk, I strongly recommend you not to invest. And I strongly recommend you not to invest in our product if you don't understand it. So first thing is get on the white lists, get to understand the platform, try to understand better than we do what we are doing. That's my dream is that one day a user will explain me things about the platform that I haven't figured out yet. Unfortunately, we are far this. The habits of investing are still not perfect, but I'm sure one day it will come where even in crypto, people will be so knowledgeable that they will teach us, they will lecture us about our own products.
Amazing. So to throw a little bit in what you said about project doing their research and knowing. Obviously, you guys have kind of like a clear narrative about what you're building and where you're going. To be honest, and it's something a lot of people would want to support.
I'm sorry, the line is dropping. I can't hear you.
I really wish you guys the best for this, because a lot of projects out there they're not quite looking for what you're looking for, and the narrative which you guys are heading towards, and it's really amazing. So, guys, do your research. Just give me a second. Don't worry, guys. I'm gonna give you guys a chance to ask your questions. So just take it easy. Arthur, can you hear me?
I can hear you, but voice is dropping very bad. But it's okay. Maybe if we take the question, I get better.
All right. I think you can hear me now, right?
Yeah, now it's better.
How was like the team preparing? Okay, you can hear me now, right?
Look, yeah, now I can hear. So your question was currently pre-license, how the team is preparing.
Yeah.
Look, the first thing is finding the right assets, and pre-license doesn't mean pre-compliance. We can do a lot of things without being licensed, and we can start activating everything we can, building the product, buying the assets, shortlisting investors. So that's the first thing we're doing. Then creating all the legal structures that will be ready for the day we are licensed to go full blast. And then, of course, it's a dialogue with Dubai regulator in order to make sure that everybody understands what we're doing. And trust me, it's not that easy. So when the license is confirmed, the day after we're on the market.
Yeah, that's amazing. So I'm just gonna drop in the second to my last question before we head on to the community question, if that's okay.
Sure.
All right. So I just wanted to ask, looking ahead over the next few years, what would success for OneAsset look like beyond just simply onboarding more properties on the platform?
Look, becoming the infrastructure standard for commercial real estate tokenization in the GCC and beyond is our main goal. We want to be top of mind when you talk about commercial real estate in the GCC and anywhere in the world. Then we have a tough balance to find, and being recognized by both institutions and individuals, and being recognized as a credible actor and a good player in the industry. Then if we go more into the product, I think what everybody is waiting, expecting, and hoping is a functioning secondary market with real liquidity. That takes time, that takes effort. You need to build it step by step. But for sure, it's a process. It doesn't come just overnight and boom, you have liquidity and you have an economic base that works. So there's a lot of work involved, but having a proper secondary market is I think, one of the key success in the coming years. Of course, compliance is a no-brainer. It's like a must-have. Having the regulation always on top, it's perfect. It's what we need to do. And then the last thing is obviously performance. We want to invest in the best asset that will give over the year the best return on investment. So if you all invest in our products and you all become rich, or at least richer than what you were, that's what would make us happier.
That's great. So one last question before we head on to the community question. Is there like any closing statement or something you'd like to add? Maybe we didn't talk about during our time. Maybe you could just throw it up there.
I'll do the classic disclaimers. Not a financial advice, guys. Do your own research, and again, just understand your risk profile. Stick to that risk profile when you're investing. Everyone is not a degen. Everyone is not someone who's looking for 2% per year. Try to align it, and every time you invest, keep this in mind that you are a unique investor and that your profile is unique. Don't follow them grids and invest in the cheapest product in this day.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's amazing. Well, you keep throwing the NFT, NFA, Dior all the time. Like you really want them to, really take responsibility of their actions and also do the right thing and also do their research and all that. Most projects don't even say this. To be honest, I'm the one who always say it, but you've said it more than 3 to 4 times now. It's amazing. It's amazing. So I can see Aviator. Aviator, your mic is unmuted. You can ask away.
Hi guys, thank you very much. I hope you can hear me clearly.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you so much. Hi Otto. It's a pleasure to finally meet the face, and it's been really good. I've been following the project for a while now. Reached out a couple of times in the past. Unfortunately, it been bounced a bit, but it's been a really amazing session, and although I joined a bit late, apologies for that, but I was able to listen in and hear you talk. And like our host said, you mentioned to do your own research a couple of times, and it's just really wild to hear a project owner or representative from a project always make mention of that. Most of the times we don't most times hear things like that, but it's fun. And so basically, like I mentioned earlier, I've been going through the project for a while now, and one thing that kind of like stood out to me is the fact that OneAsset itself keeps on emphasizing that it keeps on emphasizing that tokenized real estate is majorly a life circle and it's not a listing page. Now, my question basically is, what are some of the biggest infrastructure layers that most reward asset projects are actually still underestimating today, that OneAsset has actually been able to taking advantage of and is actually giving them an edge or a one step forward than other clients or other projects that are into the same industry?
Sure thing. Thank you for the question. So I give you two things. One is OTC and one is property management. First thing, to invest in commercial real estate, in crypto, you need to understand that most of the investors are not crypto natives. Most of the people referring us and giving us interest and showing interest and having a will of buying commercial real estate on chain are not crypto native. So giving them a clear, proper way of going to fiat, from fiat to USDC, and investing in the assets it's a super important thing. So I'd say first thing is on-ramp, off-ramp. Also because if you want to settle everything on chain, then you need to have proper on-ramp. Think about it. I'll receive rents. How do I put that on chain? So, and of course, how do I put that on chain without touching anything? Because we know where there is human interaction, there is a risk. So the OTC is a big part of that answer. The second part is property management. Having a property, having a tenant, having investors, tokenizing the assets is not enough. You need to manage a property on a daily basis. Your tenants will call you with issues. You'll have like the life of the assets. It's not hassle-free. You have to face so many issues, so many problems in the life of the asset, and you need a layer to manage that. And that's one of the things we are building. Of course, we're not building it from scratch. We are building it with professionals from the industry. We are building it partially internally, partially outside. But that's a super important part. And usually I got no question about this. We will manage the assets. If it's just having assets that's just waiting for someone to hopefully throw a bunch of USDC to rent it, it's useless. So my answer will be these 2 points.
Oh, okay. Correct me if I'm wrong, but if OTC infrastructure and fiat on ramps are kind of like part of the missing layers, do you think that the biggest barriers to reward assets adoption today is actually more of distribution rather than tokenization technology itself?
It's equal. I don't think it's better. I don't think it's worse. I think it's almost equal. Like being able for both retail and institutional being able for both them to deploy capital on chain. For retail, it's gonna be mostly OTC issues. For institutional, it's gonna be a mandate issue. Does these guys working in funds have the mandate and have the right to deploy capital on chain? Probably not. They have to make that evolution, and they have to have like broader mandates to allow them to get exposure on chain.
All right. Thank you very much, also, for your answer. I really appreciate. Thank you, hosts, for giving me the opportunity.
Thank you. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for coming.
That's all right. Sophia, you can ask your question now. Your mic is unmuted.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, it's not the best quality, but I can hear you, yes.
Okay. So my question is, how can users from emerging markets participate in OneAsset, and how accessible is the platform globally?
So how you can participate is you can buy tokens from us and all that token to receive the yield. And if you get the yield, you get money, and eventually one day sell the token to get profits on the property prices. That's the first thing. How accessible it is, when we start, we're gonna have a floor investment of $10K. So you will not be able to invest less than $10K in new listings, but on the secondary marketplace, that barrier will not exist anymore. You can buy from few dollars of each and every token that's available for trade. So it's pretty accessible to everyone anywhere in the world, except if you're in sanctioned countries. So if you're living in Iran or in North Korea, which I'm sure you're not living in, you won't have access. Issue with accessibility.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your question.
All right. I got a question from X. So I'm just gonna read it out. This question is from Harry Dempsey on Twitter. So Harry was asking about. Just give me a second. Oh, I can see Neo raise up his hands. Just give me a second, Neo. Let me read this one out. Yeah, so we got from Harry. He asked about. He said, "Are there any partnership you're currently working on that could really push OneAsset to the next level?" He's asking about your partnership perspective.
Of course, yes. And to discover this partnership, go on our social medias, follow, like, bookmark our things to see more of our posts. And of course, when time will be right, we'll disclose the amazing partnership we already signed and will be continue signing with industry leaders and was let's say friends from the industry, of course.
Hi guys, hope you can hear me.
I can. Please go ahead with the question.
So my question is, how does OneAsset maintain trust alignment within the team during challenging situations?
I'm sorry, I could not hear you. Can you come again with the question?
I said, how does OneAsset maintain trust and alignment within the team during challenging situations? Do you get my question?
Yeah, of course. First thing is we are all aligned on the vision. Sonia, our CEO, is the one who carried the visions, and she is the one guiding us towards the direction we're looking forward, and all going in the same direction and knowing why we're going there. I think it's what helps in our daily operations to go even when things are not as we expected, or they are more difficult, or when we face issues. So the first thing is we know why we're doing this. We're doing this because we really think that everyone should have access to the best investments on earth. And at the moment, having access to these investments means two things. Means to be in the right circles, and means to have lot of capital. That should not be the case. Everyone should be able to access these deals, and that's what helps keeping the structure, what helps keeping the team together, as we are pursuing the same vision, we're pursuing the same goals. So I think that's the most important thing. The rest is just operations.
Yeah, thanks for your answer to my question. Really appreciate it.
Thank you for your question. Is there any other questions?
Sorry, can you hear me? I thought my Telegram was glitching again.
Yeah, I can hear you. No problem.
All right. We've got a question from Twitter as well, from one of the members here on Twitter, from Côte d'Ivoire. All right.
Yes.
Just give me a second. Right. He said, "Good afternoon from Côte d'Ivoire. How you doing, Arthur? From a security perspective, I'd love to know how OneAsset keep things transparent on chain while also protecting users and handling compliance and security risk."
Look, transparency and smart contracts are two different things.
Did you get the question?
Yeah, I got it. even though transparency is one of the main thing about smart contracts, it's everybody see what's happening on chain. It's two different things. I mean, we can be as transparent as we can, and we can be secured. And having contracts that have been audited, that are immutable, that are bulletproof, that have been tested, back tested, fire tested, whatever, is I think one of the most important parts of our job. And that's what will keep security, and that's what will gatekeep us from the big problem that the industry faced years ago and is facing again, but I think less and less.
All right, that's amazing. So I think that would be the end of the questions. So just before we proceed next steps, honestly, one thing I like about OneAsset from my side is that the project doesn't feel like it's trying to like force around real estate on chain like a lot of real world asset projects do. The focus seems more so much more on serious and infrastructure driven, and especially around compliance reports and how these assets actually function long term ahead of just tokenizing properties for attention. And that's amazing. And also I also think OneAsset is approaching the market from a more realistic angle, and a lot of projects talk about bringing trillions and billions of dollars on chain, but the hard part is building systems, institution, and regulators would actually be comfortable with. So from what I've seen so far, OneAsset seems more focused on solving real operational challenges rather than just chasing the narrative. So it's really amazing what you guys are doing.
Okay.
So I think this is gonna be the end of the session, guys. Before we round up for the session, Arthur, is there anything you'd like to include before we cut it off?
Sure. I said it once already. I said it a second time. Go follow us on Twitter. Go follow us on Instagram. Go follow us on any social media that you want. Connect with me if you have any questions. If you have any interest in the project, if you can bring us anything, please don't hesitate. Shoot me a DM, and I'll try to answer as soon as possible.
Right, Arthur. Thank you for your time once more. So, guys, don't forget to sign up for the waitlisting, and also support the project. Follow our socials. We'll be doing our giveaways in a few minutes after this session. So, you guys, please sign up for the waitlisting. It's important. And try your best to support the project. This is a really clear narrative, and they know what they're doing. And what they're doing is really unique, to be honest. And it's really something you want to, put your eye on, to be honest. So thank you guys for coming. It's been a pleasure having you all here, and I'll see you guys on the next one. We're gonna be having a lot of AMAs from this month till next month. So you guys want to keep an eye out for Chain Globals. There's gonna be a lot of partnerships and collaboration. So you guys keep ahead. And thank you for your time. Bye-bye. Stay safe, guys. NFA and Dior.